Hi, you guys. It's Yaz, and today I'm going to talk about the sleep habits of the narcissist. Narcissists love to use sleep as an excuse, and I'm going to talk about some of their habits that you may not be aware of. One of the habits that narcissists have when it comes to sleep is that they're always falling asleep with you, and they're napping on the couch, okay? And you say to yourself, boy, I haven't seen them all week, and look at them. They're sitting on the couch and they're falling asleep on me. Why is that? Because that narcissist is out and about, and they're out with other supply, and then they come to your place and they're tired, okay? They always come to your place and they're tired, and they're laying around or they're sleeping when they're around you on the couch, okay? The other thing that narcissists do when it comes to sleep is they lie and they tell you that they're going to bed when they're really going to see another supply. So they use sleep as an excuse to go see another supply. Oh, I'm really tired. Oh, I'm really tired. It's Saturday night, 8 o'clock. Oh, I'm tired. It's been a long work week. Trust and believe that narcissist is not going to sleep at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. They're going to see another supply, but they love to use sleep as an excuse because they know you can't check them. They know you can't check them. You know who else does this? When you're in a long distance relationship with somebody, you're thinking that that person is loyal, and the way they get around going to see other supply is to tell you that they're going to bed. They just tell you they're going to bed, and you can never check them. That's why it's very hard to be in a long-distance relationship with somebody unless you knew that person before you went long distance. You get involved with somebody in a long-distance relationship, you don't know what they're doing. And they could just be telling you they're going to sleep, and meanwhile, they have a whole other relationship going on, okay? The other thing that narcissists do is they pretend that they sleep late. See, narcissists are creatures of the night, but they're not only creatures of the night, they're creatures of the early morning, and a lot of them get it in with other supply in the early morning, and you're thinking that they're sleeping late. I actually knew a girl that did this, that she was cheating on her boyfriend, and every time he would call her in the morning, she wasn't picking up the phone. And my boyfriend at the time, who was his friend, he used to call me up, and he used to say, what's up with so-and-so? She's never picking up the phone in the morning. And I didn't even know what she was doing because she didn't tell me. And she said to me later on, she said, oh, I had somebody else over, when he was calling. That was just such a toxic relationship because she was cheating on him and he was cheating on her with his ex, okay? It was just totally toxic. But one of the things that they do is they try to see other supply in the early morning, and they say that they're sleeping late, all right? The other thing that you'll notice with narcissists are they are big snorers. Narcissists snore loudly, okay? And that's because their body is exhausted. The narcissist is always running, and that's why they'll just pass out, nap on the couch, cat nap, and start snoring. Because when somebody starts snoring, they're usually exhausted, and they just start snoring because they have no energy, because they keep going all over the place. That's because they're living a secret life that you don't know about. They're tired. When you're thinking they're sleeping, they're not really sleeping. They're with other supply, okay? What's another weird sleep habit or something that narcissists do when it comes to sleep? They could have a huge drawn-out fight with you and then fall asleep like a baby. It doesn't affect them the way it affects you. And people come back to me and they say, why can the narcissist have a big fight and just fall asleep? Because they don't care. They don't care what you have to say. They don't care what you think. They don't care about your feelings. They have no empathy. So they could just crash out and not care about the fight that they just had with you because they're not worried about your feelings, okay? They're not worried about anything. And they got out all that anxiety by fighting with you, and now they feel good. They got out all their frustration, all their anger, all their anxiety. They took it out on you. Now they feel good. They don't care about how it affects you, and they could fall asleep like a baby. And then the funny thing is they'll wake up and they won't even bring up the argument. Why? because they don't want to take accountability, okay? Narcissists love to just sweep it under the rug, make like nothing happened, and, you're the one who cares. They're the one that don't, all right? Another thing that narcissists do with sleep is a lot of them love to sleep on the holidays, okay, or a birthday. Why do they do that? Because they're really not into it. They don't want to see other people happy. They don't want to see other people celebrating. What better way to zone you out and not give you any praise than to fall asleep on your birthday, okay? Fall asleep on your birthday or fight with you on your birthday. So they'll zone out. They don't care. They'll fall asleep on the couch. They're there in body only. And that's when they're in a situation that they don't want to be in, all right? Like maybe you're a backup supply and they come to see you, but they're really not into you. They're just using you as a filler. They're going to be falling asleep on you, okay? Because you're not their main supply. You're not their primary supply, so they don't care. You're like a rest spot for them. You're a bed and breakfast for them. And the same thing when it comes to the holidays and birthdays. They don't care about celebrating it because, again, they hate to see other people happy, or if it's somebody else's birthday, they don't want to give anybody else any attention. So they'll use sleep as an excuse and they'll be I'm tired, I'm just going to lay down. Or they'll go upstairs. You could have a family get-together. I've seen this where they have family get-togethers and the narcissist says, I'm really tired, I'm going to go upstairs and lay down. This is what the narcissist does to not be around the celebration, somebody's, getting attention for a birthday or something like that. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to be around these people. They don't want to celebrate. They don't want to see people happy. They are a total Debbie Downer. That's what they are, okay? So, narcissists are creatures of the night and the early morning. They do a lot of their dirty work in the early morning and late at night. That's why they love those late night jobs. The other thing that I want to mention when it comes to sleep is that narcissists don't go to bed when you go to bed. Notice this when you're dealing with a narcissist. A lot of them don't want to go to bed when you go to bed. They're not like on a normal clock like most people do, all right? Come home, have dinner, watch TV, relax, and then go to bed. No, that's not the narcissist. The narcissist needs their own time. So a lot of times when you're going to bed, the narcissist will say something like, I'm going to stay up a little bit. I'm going to watch some TV or I'm going to play the game or something like that. They want that time to themselves with you not around so that they could text other supply or go into another space in the house, maybe the basement, run out to the car, maybe the bathroom, and they could call the other supply. They got to get it in. And they can't do it with you around. And what better time to do it than when you go and lay down? So a narcissist doesn't want to fall asleep when you fall asleep. The other thing, too, is a lot of times narcissists they're used to being up late, and they don't care, and they'll wake you up. They'll be banging pots and pans in the kitchen. They'll be playing the TV really loud. They don't care about it's going to wake you up. If anything, they love to sabotage you so that you're tired and, tired for work the next day. So, they hate to see you sleeping like a baby sometimes, and they want to ruin that. If they're not busy texting or calling other supply, what they want to do is sabotage your sleep, or they feel entitled to put the TV loud or put music loud. They don't care. They don't care about your sleep. They'll disrupt your sleep, all right? Now, here's another thing with narcissists when it comes to sleep and everything like that. Narcissists will always be telling you how tired they are, okay? I'm so tired, babe. I'm just so tired. So you're thinking they're at their place, they're tired. This is like a scenario where you're not living with them. And what they do is you're thinking they're just going to relax in their home or something like that. I'm so tired. I'm just going to relax tonight. This and that, I'm probably just going to watch this movie, or just read this book or play my game or something. Because what they're doing is they're trying to set you off track. You're going to think that they're really tired. They're not going anywhere. They're going to stay home. Later on, you're going to find out they went out. Either they'll tell you or you're going to find out a different way. Maybe you try to call them later. You can't get in touch with them later. And what they'll do is they'll say to you, oh, yeah, I went out. I stopped at my brother's house. I stopped at my cousin's house. I stopped at my mother's house. She called me. She needed me to help her with something in the house. All right. So this is how they throw you off track. They pretend that they're tired, they're going to go to sleep, they're exhausted, and then all of a sudden, if you decide to call them later, they're not there. They're not in their house. They went out, all right? So they want you to think that they're tired and they're not going anywhere, but meanwhile, they're not going to their mothers, they're not going to their cousins, they're not going to their friends, they're going to the other supplies house. That's what they're doing. And you're sitting there thinking they're exhausted, they're probably going to fall asleep on the couch watching a movie because they painted that picture to you. And meanwhile, they're going out and they're about to go creep and see another supply. So they'll tell you they're exhausted so that you don't become suspicious. That's what it is, all right? The other thing I mentioned about how they're catnapping constantly because they're on the go constantly. The narcissists really don't get a lot of sleep. They really don't get a lot of sleep. They're constantly going. And the other thing with their sleep habits are because they don't get a lot of sleep. I knew 2 narcissists that actually had sleep apnea. And a lot of that is caused by a lack of sleep, all right? So what happens is when a body doesn't get enough rest, enough sleep, the body is going to start to break down. That's what happens. The body starts to break down. That's why I say these narcissists, they destroy themselves because they don't take care of themselves. They don't take care of their body. And most of them don't get enough rest. They really don't get enough rest. So they're going to start to have health issues. They might have high blood pressure. They may have sleep apnea. They may have, any kind of issues with their health. They may have heart conditions, whatever, because they abuse their bodies. The narcissist constantly abuses their bodies. And one of the ways to having a healthy body is to get plenty of sleep. So rest assured that the narcissist that you're with is not getting enough sleep. They are not getting enough sleep because they're up late or they're up early morning and they're sneaky and they're getting into things that they shouldn't when they should be sleeping and taking care of their health and their body. And that's why that's one of the ways they destroy themselves. So these are some of their sleep habits. Stay up late, not want to be on the same clock as you. The narcissist is not a team player where, you go to bed as a couple, you lay down next to each other, you cuddle next to each other. That's not the narcissist. When you get in bed with the narcissist, you'll be laying down and they'll be sitting up. And they'll be sitting up on their phone or having the TV on. That's what you're going to see, okay? That's what you're going to see. And that's what a lot of people fall asleep to. Or it could be the opposite, where if you're up, then they all of a sudden want to go to bed because they don't want to be up with you. They want to just zone out from you. They want to go to bed because they want you to fall asleep because they figure, well, I'll just tell them I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed now, babe. So what they'll do is they'll fake sleeping till you fall asleep, and then they may get up, pretend they're going to the bathroom or go to the bathroom and be texting their other supply. In other words, they don't want to be connected with you because of this secret life that they have. All right. Narcissists want their space. They want their freedom. So they're not going to be on the same sleep clock as you. And they're going to try to make sure that they're not on the same sleep clock with you so that they have their own time to do what they want. That's when a lot of times you're falling asleep. They get up, they pretend that they're falling asleep, they get up, and they go on social media and they're inboxing people. This is what they do. Or they may try to sneak a call in from the basement or another room or something like that, or the bathroom. This is what narcissists do, and this is how they're so shady and how they use sleep as, a way for you not to catch them. Sleep is their alibi. Narcissists love to use sleep as an alibi so that you don't know what they're doing. So again, Let me reiterate, they pretend that they're tired so you don't think they're going anywhere or do anything. They pretend to fake sleep so that you fall asleep and they can get up and contact other supply. If they feel you're going to be up and they can't do it, they'll pretend to, I got to go to bed. So you fall asleep. You say, I guess I'll go to bed now too. Then once they see you're asleep, they get up and they're creatures of the night, right? They're like Dracula. They're creatures of the night so that they could get the other supply. Or if it's the other, you go to bed, they'll go in the other room and say, I just want to watch TV for a little bit. And you'll hear the TV on or you'll hear the game on if they play video games, but they'll be texting other supply in between. You think they're doing nothing, but meanwhile, they're using the TV or they're using games that they play on TV or games on their phone. They love to say I'm just going to play the 8-ball pool or I'm going to play some games on my phone. And meanwhile, they're talking and texting people on their phone and you think that they're playing games, all right? This is what they do when you're about to go to sleep or even if you're not asleep, they try to, get it in that way. So they're very sneaky, they're very shady, and these are their sleep habits. And what they do is, like I told you before, they fall asleep at the backup supplies house. This is what they do. They love to fall asleep, where they don't care. All right. Usually the new supply is somebody that they'll be more alert, more attentive to. The person that they've had or they're bored with, that's the one they're going to fall asleep on. All right. So notice if the narcissist is like falling asleep on you or something like that, a lot of times it could be because you are no longer the grade A supply. They don't care. They're keeping you around because you're offering something, but they don't care that they're falling asleep on you because they put out all their other energy with the other supply, and now they're just using you for a place of rest, a place of comfort, all right? You're now their place of comfort, their place to rest up before they leave you and go out to the other supply and have all that energy, okay? Isn't it crazy? It is just flat out crazy how these people just blatantly waste your time. They're awful, okay? They're awful. They're horrible people that waste your time, waste your life. So notice when you're with somebody, if they're giving you the same amount of energy that you're giving them. If they're not, then they could be living a whole other secret life or they're just not into you. And if that is the case, exit left. We don't need people that are in with half a leg, okay? Get rid of people that will waste your time, waste your life. Listen to me. I'm trying to save you guys because these people, they will pretend that they love you. They'll tell you that they love you. They'll tell you that they care, and they'll be falling asleep on your couch because they're living another life somewhere else with somebody else or a bunch of other people. So, if they're tired all the time, and it's not making sense, it's because it doesn't make sense. It's because the narcissist is lying and they're living another life somewhere else, all right? So that's what it is. So I hope that helps you guys. If it does, hit the subscribe button, share the podcast. If you're looking for confidential one-on-one phone coaching, check out the link in the bio at askgaz.wixsite.com/thegameexposed. If you're confused, you don't know if you're dealing with a narcissist, what kind of narcissist they are, and you need clarity, check out the link in the bio at askgaz.wixsite.com/thegameexposed. Also, guys, check out my YouTube. I have over 6,000 videos. I can't believe I did 6,000 videos, but there's over 6,000 videos on there about all different phases of narcissism, okay? Check it out at the Game Exposed podcast on YouTube. And also, TikTok is the Game Exposed. Instagram is the Game EXP123, and Facebook for right now is the Game EXP777. And have a great day.